Hello everyone, today we're in Westminster even though Parliament is not actually sitting, but I'm here with the Brexit hero and Conservative MP Nigel Evans. Thanks for coming on the show. Let's talk about Brexit and how it's going. Obviously yesterday Boris Johnson had a meeting with the Irish Prime Minister Varadkar, and apparently some positive stuff is coming out. What do you think?
Well, just 2 days ago we were having very, very bad signals when the Prime Minister Boris Johnson was chatting with Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, and it seemed as if the phone call didn't go all that well. Downing Street let it be known, basically, that it was not the most constructive of phone calls. And yet, what? Look at us now. You've had the Irish Taoiseach in the northwest of England, in the Wirral, chatting to the Prime Minister. They had a private chat, as well as, no doubt, with some of the civil servants sitting around them. And the mood music has completely changed, and you had that joint statement given by both of them to say that they now can see a pathway to a Brexit deal. That simply was not on the table 48 hours ago. It's great.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because usually in these sort of meetings, even if it's private, someone leaks something, but no one actually did anything.
No, you've got a lot of speculation from the journalists, but what do they know? Let's be fair, they simply do not know. People are trying to second guess. And I've likened it to a game of three-dimensional poker. And what you have in Parliament, as you know, is a bunch of MPs, and the majority of them voted Remain. There's a hard core of them that simply do not want to leave the European Union. Some of them are prepared for some form of Brexit as long as it's Brexit in name only. We've termed it Brino. And that means you stay in the customs union, you stay in the single market, you have to have free movement, you're justifiable by the courts. I mean, at what stage?
Let's just stay in.
I mean, absolutely. You become a vassal state. So we don't want that. That's not what people voted for. We're always told by Remainers why people voted Leave. They didn't vote Leave to leave on without a deal. How do you know? On the ballot paper, it was either Leave or stay, and people did vote Leave. So we are where we are now. There's been a lot of change over the past 80 days. Number one, we changed the Prime Minister. We don't have Theresa May in Downing Street. And I think that Brussels knew that when Theresa said we were leaving on March the 29th, and no deal's better than a bad deal, number one, they didn't believe we were going to leave on March the 29th. And number two, they didn't believe that Theresa would leave without a deal.
That's true.
And they were right in both cases. And so we've replaced the Prime Minister. Boris Johnson is somebody who was part of the Leave campaign. He actually led it.
That's right.
With all intents and purposes. He was the political face of the Leave campaign, with Dominic Cummings as the master strategist, working from just along the way here, opposite the House of Commons. And the team is back together again. And Brussels knows that when Boris says we're leaving on the 31st of October, that's exactly what we're doing. Now, we know there's lots of things that have happened here. You've got the Then Surrender Act. I know the left and the Remainers get very angry when we call it that, but that's exactly what it is, because it gives a lot of power to the European Union, that if by the October the 19th, Parliament hasn't passed some form of deal, then the Prime Minister is instructed to ask for an extension of Article 50. And he said he'd rather die in a ditch rather than do that, but he's also said that he would obey the law. So it does seem to me as if October the 19th is going to be a very important date for us. It's a Saturday. Parliament hasn't sat on a Saturday.
What do they call it? That's Super Saturday.
They're calling it Super Saturday. 1982, Falklands War was the last time we sat on a Saturday. And it does seem to me that it's preceded by the European Council on the 17th and the 18th of October, when there's only one thing on the table.
That's true.
Brexit. And it does seem to me that what's happened in the Wirral very recently does seem now to have pushed the discussions into a proper negotiation. Because if you're discussing things, that's nothing. You've got to negotiate. And it does seem to me now that Leo Varadkar, the Irish Taoiseach, is now prepared to negotiate.
A lot of Brexiteers are obviously frustrated and kind of concerned about everything that's kind of been going on with Brexit. And because Boris Johnson, ever since he became Prime Minister, he's been obviously promising we are going to be leaving, he's going to try his best. Some might be blaming him if it doesn't happen for some reason, and saying, oh, well, he promised us he had to do it. But isn't it the case that it doesn't matter who the Prime Minister was going to be, the pattern that was going to happen since July, August, with the Surrender Act and everything, was going to happen anyway, regardless of who was actually Prime Minister. And we would have been in the same mess because of the Remain Parliament and John Bercow and everything else.
Yeah, let's play the blame game, shall we?
Yep, let's do that.
Because people are to blame for where we are now.
Yep.
It's a Remain Parliament. 3/4 of them voted Remain,
Yep.
and a lot of them are still there. They, particularly Joe Swinson. Right? Let's put the blame there first,
Yeah.
right? Joe Swinson, the new leader of the Liberal Democrats. She wants to revoke Article 50. She doesn't care a stuff about the referendum. She doesn't care a stuff about 17.4 million people. And more than that, she doesn't care about democracy. I don't know which part of Democrat the Liberal Democrats are, because they simply do not accept what went on in 2016. So blame definitely lies there.
That's one.
Blame game 2. John Bercow, the Speaker of the House of Commons, supposed to be a referee. But instead of that, he's thrown away the whistle, donned the Remain kit, and is now taking the penalties for them. He has torn up the rule book, and he has allowed, for the first time ever, Parliament to act like a government by allowing the Hillary Benn surrender bill to become an act. Without his permission and without him allowing it, there is not a chance that the opposition could ever have legislated in the way that they have. I mean, I know there's question marks as to whether what he's done is legal, but the fact is he's done it, and he said that he wanted to be procedurally creative. He wanted to break the impasse. In essence, he weakened the negotiating position of the Prime Minister. He gave the advantage towards Michel Barnier in the discussions. He let it be known that he voted Remain. I mean, these are things that normally a speaker never does. I mean, I don't know what the deputy speakers did, because they haven't let it be known.
That's true.
And I actually think it's a huge shame that the speaker has overtly politicised that particular role. At least there's one good thing, Mayor, on the 31st of October, he's going.
He's leaving,
And I do hope that whoever replaces the speaker, that they bring dignity back to that particular post, they depoliticise it, and the partisanship is junked completely. I want a non-partisan speaker in that chair. I shouldn't know their views on anything.
He can't change his mind, right? Yeah, he's definitely leaving. He can't, or can he?
Well, I tell you what, we go back to the Remain Parliament. The only reason he's there is because the Remain MPs want to keep him there. Of course, Parliament could remove the Speaker if they wanted to, but this Remain Parliament doesn't want to, because they've got the person in the chair playing for them. So if he decided somehow or other, let's say there was an extension to Article 50 and he wanted to stay for another 3 months himself, Parliament would let him.
No, it makes sense, absolutely. It's a bit of a mess, but hopefully we have 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, I think.
October the 31st.
20 days ago, I think.
And yeah, I mean, to be honest, when Theresa May was Prime Minister and you had the countdown clock on Sky Telly, I stopped watching it. She stopped mentioning the date of March the 29th, and when she stopped mentioning that date, then you knew there was trouble. Now I know one of my colleagues had a chat with Boris Johnson just 2 days ago, private chat, and I said to him afterwards, did Boris mention the date of October the 31st to you? And he said, yes, he did. So it does seem to me as if Boris is absolutely focused, one way, shape, form or another, on leaving on October the 31st. Some people say, oh, there's loopholes in that Benn Surrender Act. I don't know whether there is or there isn't.
But maybe there are other options, whether it's by partial deal or whether, you know, he's maybe they have some other plan. But they seem very confident. He's tweeting every day that, you know, we are still leaving. We see the TV adverts telling everyone to get ready for Brexit.
On the gantries on the M6 it says if you're a trucker, make sure your paperwork is okay because there may well be changes. There are adverts telling people that if you're going to the EU 27 and you haven't got health insurance, you better take some out. I mean, these are all very smart things. But I want October the 31st to be something more than a new 50p piece and a blue passport. I want there to be... in many ways, you know, I'm a bit disappointed with the word Brexit because people have been allowed to say hard Brexit and soft Brexit and all that rubbish. It's independence.
It's independence.
We want independence for our country, like the 200 other countries that are not in the EU. Exactly. Somehow or other, they survive. Somehow or other, they get medicines.
Yeah.
Somehow or other, you know, they get to eat. And all these scare stories. I mean, Project Fear on steroids, which is what we've heard for you know, the last 2-3 months from the Treasury and from IFS, from the CBI. They're all at it. We're bored. And I thought the party conference was superb.
It was really good. It was very, I didn't see you there.
No, I wasn't there because I was in Strasbourg at the Council of Europe.
Right.
But I watched his speech,
Yeah.
and I think Boris Johnson is absolutely right. People are fed up to the back teeth.
Yeah.
Even in my own constituency, all right, 57% of my patch voted Leave.
Yeah.
But I bump into people all the time who say, actually, Nigel, you know, I did vote Remain.
Yeah.
But for goodness sake, get on with it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because there's a sense that I speak to a lot of Remainers. Actually, on my channel, a lot of subscribers that I have say they voted Remain and now they're Brexit Tears. And a lot of them, the reason is because the way the EU have treated us, or now they know the facts, or this Project Fear on steroids that has actually worked. So I'm guessing you get the same sense in your constituency.
Exactly the same. Every constituency in Lancashire voted Leave. Everyone. And so I said there's some important dates coming up, right? So we've got the Queen's speech on October the 14th.
Yep.
You've got the European Council on the 17th and 18th. You've got Super Saturday on the 19th when legislation may come before us.
Right.
That's going to be critical because we're going to have to rely on some Labour MPs. You know those Labour MPs that stood on a manifesto a couple of years ago that said we were going to deliver Brexit? And since then, of course, Corbyn is all over the place. He's been dragged by the nose by Emily Thornberry and Keir Starmer, who quite frankly won his job. Tom Watson, exactly the same. They talk about a second referendum because they see that as the last hope of somehow or other reversing the decision of 2016. But what I'm hearing and what you're hearing clearly is exactly the same. People saying, oh, I've had enough of this. And we've seen how Europe have behaved. I voted to Remain, but next time I would vote Leave. But I think the important thing for democracy, I told you I'm on the Council of Europe, I talked to a number of politicians from countries where democracy is a little bit shakier than it is in this country. Russians, Belarus, you know, a number of countries, of course Belarus is suspended from the Council of Europe. Russia has only just been readmitted back in. And it's awful when you know that democracy in your own country is at stake now. And that's the important thing for me. I can't with any authority talk to politicians or people from other countries where, you know, Zimbabwe for instance, you know, where I said that Robert Mugabe would have been proud of some of the antics that the Remain lot were using during the referendum. Yet when we ourselves, when we say we're going to respect the decision of the British people, that was on the back of that pamphlet that was sent to every household by David Cameron, and we 3 years later we're still in the European Union. People are fed up. Get Brexit sorted, and that's what the message from Boris was, and I think that's the huge difference, you know. Michel Barnier, Juncker, Tusk and the others, they all know now this guy is serious about leaving the EU, and the general election is coming.
But that's the thing, so even if they give him an extension somehow, they know that that extension is going to be useless because Boris is going to call an election, he's going to win the election, and he's going to be like, I already offered you a deal, no more negotiations. He's going to do what they've done to us with the deal. And then that means when that extension's over, he's just going to say, well, no deal again.
Well, I've been an MP for 28 years. And during that period, I have never in my political career seen a Prime Minister offer the leader of an opposition a general election and Jeremy Corbyn running a mile with the Lib Dems, with the Scott Nats. I mean, this is ridiculous. But, as Geoffrey Cox pointed out, turkeys, this Christmas is coming.
It's Parliament is disgrace.
And my own view is probably November the 28th is my favoured date now for getting that general election. Corbyn could have had the election on October the 15th. This wasn't on Boris Johnson's terms. This was a general election that would have allowed Corbyn to have presented his agenda to the public. If he'd been elected, he would have been the man going to Brussels on the 17th and 18th of October. He could have asked for the extension of Article 50. the European Union would have given it to him straight away.
Yeah.
They get an extra £1 billion a month off the British taxpayer for every month we're stuck in the European Union. Yeah. And they ran him out. But November the 28th, hopefully, is the date. And a number of Labour MPs know that their own electorates, they go back to their own patches, normally every weekend like I do. They talk to their own electorates. Some of these constituencies voted Leave by 70%.
Oh yeah, and they know that they have to do something about it, otherwise they're going to be destroyed. And this is why we go back to the whole how we're going to leave. And obviously you, yourself and a lot of other kind of Brexiteers, no one wants to leave with no one wants to be a Brino or kind of leave with a deal that's going to be completely tied. And a lot of Brexiteers are obviously concerned. What is the difference between the new proposal and Theresa May's deal and the whole situation?
Well, number one, the DUP are on side.
Yeah.
Theresa, somehow or other, forgot the DUP. These were the MPs who kept us in power, and she forgot about them.
Yeah.
I spoke to Arlene Foster, the leader of the DUP, the other day when she was in Portcullis House, and it's quite apparent that the relationship between her and Boris is completely different to the relationship she had with Theresa May. Theresa, they were an add-on for Theresa and consulted after the decisions were made, not with Boris. And so he's been able to take them with, the DUP with him in the negotiations that he's had with the European Union. And so, basically they're going to have the opportunity at some stage in the future, every 4 years, to look at the deal that's there in order to make the changes that are there. They won't be in the customs union, by the way. Not in the customs union. So that is going to be vitally important.
Was the red line.
And I've been on the Northern Irish Select Committee in the past. There are different tariffs on alcohol, tobacco, and fuel. There's no hard border between the north and the south. There is smuggling going on, we know that. Yeah. But the HMRC in the north and the south work together in order to stamp it out. So if you can do that for those three huge areas, you can do it for others. And what Boris has said is that on agricultural goods, which of course is vitally important between Ireland and Northern Ireland, they'll be looking at alignment there. I mean, we're not going to reduce standards. We're not going to reduce standards on agricultural goods. We don't want to poison our own people.
That's it. One of the idiotic ideas that we keep hearing from the left is that Remainers, left-wing Remainers, but you're leaving, and that means you're not going to have the same standards or quality. Yeah. We wrote most of it for the EU. We're not going to destroy our.
And there are world standards on manufactured goods as well. I mean, there's if it's not total alignment, there is equivalence. So people appreciate that if you're buying a vacuum cleaner or a hairdryer, when you plug it into the wall, you're not going to get electrocuted. So there are world standards out there, and so they're going to continue as well. But of course, the most important thing for us is services. 80% of what we sell are services, and that's going to be important for us. The other thing that's going to be important on the 31st of October is that as soon as the 1st of November, or I assume 11 p.m. actually on the 31st of October, we can start doing trade negotiations with the rest of the world. And Donald Trump has made it absolutely clear we're at the front of the queue. He's incredibly keen. We've got a £50 billion surplus with the United States of America at this moment in time, and he says that the deal that we do will make it 2, 3, 4 times bigger than we've already got. That's a huge jewel in the crown.
And the moment we have that deal with America, even if we don't have a deal with the EU, they know that they have to come back to us now, because we'll be fine, because America's market is even bigger than the EU. And the UK is actually thriving, let's take advantage of it. So come back, guys, let's negotiate.
We buy 850,000 cars off Germany every year. We buy 20% of the Prosecco production. We buy £3.5 billion worth of flowers and bulbs from the Netherlands. Come on. We've got a £95 billion deficit with the European Union. We love buying their goods. We'll want to continue buying their goods. They'll want to do a deal with us. There's going to be some future trading relationship between us and the European Union that's going to be smart. And people say, "Ooh, you don't want to leave without a deal." We won't be leaving without a deal anyway. We'll be leaving on WTO terms.
It's without the withdrawal agreement. It's a different thing to a deal. When we say deal, we mean a trade deal.
We're on WTO terms with the vast majority of the world, for goodness sake.
It's not the end of the world. But let's see how it goes. Obviously, we're going to do a catch-up video after the 31st. So obviously thanks for coming, but the last question is, are we going to be leaving here on the 31st of October?
If you'd asked me 24 hours ago,
Yeah.
I would have been somewhat more ambivalent than I'm going to be now.
Right.
We're leaving on October the 31st.
We are. And are you ready for the victory parties? Have you been invited to any victory
Well, we're going to do our own Halloween party in the Ribble Valley.
Oh yeah, you're going locally now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go local.
No.
But I am taking with me my EU flag, which at 11 p.m. we will lower.
Yeah.
And replace it with a Union Jack.
Good, that's a good idea. I mean, I've been invited to a few kind of big parties in Westminster now. So, and on that note, actually, as I've told a lot of you, if you've received your Brexit T-shirts and other merchandise, make sure you send a selfie with them in the picture. So I will send you an invite to one of the Brexit victory parties. If you haven't, if you want to get your own Brexit shirts and everything else, you can find the link in the description. Make sure you order it before it gets too late. So I'll send you the invite. And as always,
can I plug my book as well?
Yeah, actually.
I haven't written it yet, but when I do write it, please buy it.
So what,
Happy Independence Day on the 31st of October, everybody.
you want to give any hints what it's going to be like?
Evans, the movie. I mean, come on.
Classic.
But I'm really looking forward to the 31st of October. People have had enough. I always joke that Brexit had more dates than a Turkish food stall. It's coming to an end. The 31st of October has got to be the end.
It's coming home.
It's coming home, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on notification next to it so you get notified when a video comes out. As always, I'm Tousi and this is the fastest growing conservative Brexit channel in the UK.